It's the first thing. Secondly,
we have got some major developments. Welcome back to Moose and Loose. My name's David. Today, we've got Mark Carney humiliating himself on numerous fronts. Turns out Iran, they attacked Canada and Carney didn't want to tell us. He announces old spending as new spending in Yellowknife. And in that, a couple questions here catch him off guard. Let's jump into this. Starting this episode off, we got table salt with this major breaking. The government of Canada has just tabled a new internet monitoring bill, which requires electronic service providers to retain prescribed metadata of user activity for the last 1 year. That's right. They want 1 year of internet data. This is absurd. The bill would keep Canadians safe by providing a modernized legal framework that helps ensure that CSIS can investigate threats to the security of Canada and law enforcement agencies. Oh yeah, it's CSIS. Everyone's going to have a 1 year rap sheet of what they've looked up, searched, done on the internet for 1 year. This is not violating people's personal freedoms at all whatsoever, is it? If this comes to fruition, everyone needs to go over to a VPN, or if they really come after creators, etc., then we'll just all switch to Starlink, because that'll go through SpaceX, through Elon Musk in America, and they can't touch that. Jumping over to Carney's press conference here, we're going to start off with just a little tidbit of him speaking, because what is all of this about? He talks about getting none of it off of diesel, and what should we be replacing that with? Well, green energy, of course, because Brookfield can provide that.
Reinforces that we need all forms of energy in order to be resilient. So yes, oil and gas, and we're developing those in a responsible way, but also clean energy. And part of today's announcement is to finally get the North off of diesel, whose prices are going up and are already much more expensive than they are south of 60, if I can put it that way, and to clean, reliable energy.
And why would that clean, reliable energy be cheaper for people up there? The solar panels covered in snow, is that going to help? We're going to be setting up wind turbines up there? When in reality, what we should be doing is building more oil pipelines and refineries and stop selling America our bargain barrel discount price oil. That way, our gas and diesel would be so much cheaper that they would have cheaper prices up there. That's what we should be doing. But of course, he doesn't care about making lives good for Canadians, because all he cares about is his net zero agenda. Looking at the release that they put out today, it says they're announcing an ambitious new plan to defend, build, and transform the North. Canada's North is going through a period of profound changes. The world is becoming more dangerous and divided. They had to put it in here, dangerous and divided. The assumptions that shape decades of Canadian defense and security are being upended. Climate change is causing our Arctic region to warm nearly 3 times faster than the global average. Oh no! The icebergs are slamming into everything. So scary. A shift that great powers are actively looking to exploit. This is ridiculous. The Liberals are exploiting Canadians and they don't even realize it. Meanwhile, what do we have coming out today? A disturbing new report showed that more than 60 Canadian soldiers suffered frostbite after being given inadequate equipment by the military before being thrown into a training exercise in Alaska. Even worse, Mark Carney's Department of National Defense tried to cover it up. The incident happened in February but wasn't revealed until today after multiple soldiers contacted the media. Oof. More than 30 soldiers had to leave the exercise because of the extent of their injuries. A few were even hospitalized. And since this was in Alaska, this all happened in front of the Americans. This is so embarrassing. I saw another report that temperatures were minus 50 to minus 60 degrees Celsius, and that's where they got this frostbite from. Meanwhile, Carney giving his announcement up in the Arctic about Arctic defense and all this, just embarrassing. And with his announcements here, we've got numerous people pointing this out. Friendly reminder, Liberals already budgeted $75 billion in Arctic spending from 2022 to 2024, and it's spread over 20 years. Carney's announcement is just another recycled talking point. This isn't anything new. Ezra Levant from Rebel News pointing this out. Every single cent of this announcement has already been announced in 2022, over 20 years. Of course, they had to ham this up. They put the jet in the back, get everyone to stand there like this is some sort of big new thing. Carney announcing $32 billion for improvements to the airfields, fuel facilities, ammunition storage, etc. at 4 bases. Meanwhile, what's really come out? Talking about bases is not the bases up in the north, but it's actually the bases in Kuwait. As it turns out, Iran struck Canada. They struck our base where our military was positioned. It says here, La Presse says that Canadian troops was present at the Ali al-Salam Camp Canada bunker in Kuwait. When it was hit, it was thought to have been an Iranian missile. On March 1st, we're talking 12 days ago, our base got hit by Iran, and Mark Carney covered this up. No one was injured. No one from the government of Canada even mentioned this. And why is that? Because they didn't want to have this rallying moment of Canada and America coming together, working together with Donald Trump. That would be bad optics for Mark Carney. It makes him seem more like an ally than an enemy. This is disgusting what he is doing. So he just covered all of this up. This is an insult to our military, and this is an insult to all Canadians. So today we had multiple conservatives talking about this.
Canadian Armed Forces members were attacked on March the 1st in Kuwait during the very early hours of the first parts of the war in Iran. We are extremely, well, first and foremost, we're happy to know that everyone is safe. We've heard that at committee as well, that we were assured that everyone in the Canadian Armed Forces have been safe throughout the region. However, Prime Minister Carney has had multiple occasions and press availability to disclose this fact that Canadian Armed Forces bases in Kuwait were attacked on March the 1st. We also are very concerned that this has been an ongoing lack of transparency, and it's part of the ongoing flip-flops of Mark Carney and the Liberals on their position on the war in Iran. As Conservatives, we are very supportive of the removal of the terrorist regime in Iran and for freedom and democracy to prevail throughout the country.
Mark Carney is such a failure. The guy is so weak. He won't even tell citizens that we were attacked by Iran because he doesn't want the optics of Donald Trump working with us. As Table Salt points out, Mark Carney so desperately wanted to frame Trump as bad, he withheld the fact that Iran attacked Canadian troops for 11 days. This TDS on a scale the world has never seen before. So this information came out, and then Mark Carney got asked about this at the press conference. This was asked in French, unfortunately, but they forced it on him to answer the question in English, which you can see he did not want to answer. Numerous different journalists referenced this question to Carney's body language says it all. So before we play this one, you can see at the end of the first clip that I showed you, one of the reporters talks about it, and look at Carney's eyes and his body language. He's so uncomfortable.
And just to follow up on that uncertainty, of course, we was talking about the missile strike on the base in Kuwait, the strike on the base in Kuwait. Canadians are seeing the effects of the war here at home with the price of the pump going up and up and up. And it's been
You can see his eyes glazing over to the side. He's looking up. He's looking away. He does not want to be here for this question. He doesn't like this because he knows it makes him look bad. It makes him look like the weak leader that he is. Now, before we get to the end of this question, because he goes off on another tangent, let's go back to this one where he gets asked the question and he has to answer in English, as Josh Ryan has it here. If this attack happened in Kuwait on March 1st, why didn't you inform Canadians before?
If you can confirm in English if this attack happened, and why did you didn't inform Canadian before?
Well, I mean, I'm not the only spokesperson for the government, but I'll just confirm that Canadian forces are, the members of the Canadian forces are all safe and sound. I reinforce, as I said in French, what you know, which is that we are not engaged in these actions of the U.S. and Israel. We're not engaged in offensive actions. And
we were attacked, but we're not engaged. This is pathetic, man.
And we will not be engaged in those actions.
These guys attacked us and we're going to do nothing. Thank goodness the Americans, the Israelis, the French, they have their aircraft carrier over there, even the English, Qataris, all of them are fighting the Iranians because Mark Carney's too much of a coward. We're not even sending any support to defend our own troops. This is utter embarrassment. Canadians should not be dragged into this mess in the first place. We really need to detach from the USA. I mean, a lot of these people have no idea how the world works. We can't detach from the USA. We sell almost all of our oil to America, not to mention most of our products go down to America, 78%. If we just detached from America, our country would cease to be a country. Okay, so jumping back early in the press conference, now Carney gets asked about going on vacation. He just gets these questions one after the other, and boy, he's uncomfortable.
Home with the price of the pump going up and up and up. And it's been reported that after this trip is concluded, you're going to be on vacation for the next week. What's your message to Canadians who are worried about just the state of everything going on, the uncertainty, as you're going to be less publicly visible after this trip is done?
I'll be, first off, it doesn't actually work out to a week.
He's going to look over here for an answer. We're going to do an counter here.
It's the first thing. Secondly,
have a laugh, Carney. This is him incredibly uncomfortable. Let's just back up and count the ums.
After this trip is done.
I'll be, first off, it doesn't actually work out to a week. It's the first thing. Secondly, I'll be working through this weekend with the military exercises in Norway, meeting with our partners, meeting with Chancellor Merz of Germany. I'll be meeting the UK Prime Minister on Monday. I will be having a series of conversations during the week. I will be as visible as needed and as connected as always. As well, I would reinforce that one of the strengths of this government is we have a very strong cabinet. And one of the, I would like to think, one of my characteristics as a prime minister is I give authority to my ministers. So there's a reason why you hear a lot from the Minister of National Defense, from the Minister of Foreign Affairs, from the Minister of Public Safety, because they are very much on the front lines of these issues as much as I am. Thank you.
Next question.
Next question, only 24 ums. I think I might have even missed one or two in there. This is embarrassing. This guy doesn't tell us that we were attacked by Iran, and he's so incredibly uncomfortable when he gets asked about going on his vacation, saying, well, it's not quite a week, and be gone, pests.
Judy Trin with CTV News. Prime Minister, your office says you will have an audience with King Charles following your meeting with Keir Starmer. The Treaty 6 chiefs spoke to King Charles about their concerns.
This is very uncomfortable for him. Look at this. He's looking underneath the podium there for the mouse. He was looking off to the side. He doesn't want to look Judy Trin right in the eye. You know, if you're really comfortable with someone, you can look them right in the eye, or you can look, you know, often our eyes kind of drift around a bit. It feels a little uncomfortable just to stare at someone in the eyes. But typically we spend a few seconds, look someone in the eye, look down at their nose, their chin, their shoulder, whatever, their forehead, look at them in the eyes again, look at their cheek, look them in the eyes again. But you notice him, he took a look at Judy Trin for a few seconds. She mentioned King Charles, and now his eyes are going all over the place, going to the right, looking underneath the podium there. So something is going on with that situation there with King Charles. His body language just gave it away. What's happening there? I don't know.
Spoke to King Charles about their concern that Premier Danielle Smith has not denounced Alberta's separation. Is that a topic that you will also broach with the King?
Well, let me say a couple of things that, if I may, Judy, which is first is that His Majesty, in all of my experience, takes an intense interest in the rights of Indigenous peoples, Treaty 6 territory, Treaty 7 territory, across the Arctic. He will be very interested, first and foremost, just by his nature. I know this.
Why? Why would he be interested in Treaty 6 in Alberta or in the North in the Arctic? Why would he care at all about Aboriginal Treaty in Canada? He shouldn't give a rat's about it. It has nothing to do with him, unless there's something in it for him.
In terms of what we're talking about today, the progress that's being made, what's coming next, the impact of climate change on the North, these issues are front and center and constant for him. The second thing is that it is. There will be a form of readout of the discussion that we have. I don't want to prejudge the discussion that we have. He had a.
What is this guy up to? He's up to something here. What, is he going to get King Charles to make a recommendation that all treaties get ripped up and land given back to First Nations, and then activist judges are just put this stuff in? I don't trust these guys whatsoever. All they do is make our lives more miserable.
Quite a fulsome discussion with the Treaty 6 chiefs, I know, in the last 48 hours. And there are many subjects for him and I to raise. Thank you.
Follow up.
There's no shortage of corruption with the Treaty 6 chiefs that just went over to meet with King Charles. We've got this one here, one of the biggest scandals in First Nation history. So we've got FSIN, an organization that represents 74 First Nations. It says on Wednesday, Indigenous Services Canada released finalized report flagging $34 million in expenditures. That's right. There's questionable ineligible spending from this world event, travel expenditures, executive pay increases, and of those 34 bans here, I believe those Treaty 6 are included in this. For more specific examples, we've got landmark forensic audit setting new standards for First Nation governance. This one here, Auditor Dave Oswald revealing that Frog Lake had $120 million in missing assets, with $102 million of that from the band's trust account. Frog Lake is one of the Treaty 6 nations meeting with King Charles. $120 million just missing. Where'd it go? Nobody knows. So we've got Treaty 6 here on Wikipedia, and of that we can see right here, Frog Lake First Nations. We also got it down here, Frog Lake First First Nation under the Alberta Treaty 6 First Nations. We've also got this one here, which is the federal government conducting forensic audit on Saddle Lake Cree Nation. And same sort of thing here. It doesn't give any dollar amounts, but it says that Indigenous Service Canada received allegations regarding financial irregularities at Saddle Lake Cree Nation, said a spokesperson. To maintain confidentiality, the department does not provide information which may lead to identifying any complainants. So more financial irregularities. Going over to King Charles, we've got Saddle Lake Cree Nation right there. These guys have no legs to stand on, being pissed off at Alberta separatists, going down talking to Americans. They go over and talk to King Charles. They just want their handouts from taxpayers, and they're worried that's going to get taken away if they separate. While we're talking about First Nations from Alberta, how about the chief from Athabasca who got, what was it, $55,000? You guys know I bring the receipts. We've got this on the Toronto Sun. First Nation chief received $55,000 from the Tides Foundation. This is an American NGO funded by American billionaires trying to block a new pipeline from Alberta to the BC coast. And you've got one of these First Nation chiefs getting $55,000 wired to his bank account in northern Alberta, paying him to oppose the oil sands. This is Alan Adam of the Athabasca Chipewyan First Nation. These guys are a bunch of scumbags. And I should note, not every First Nation chief is bad. There are some good ones. I've gone through the financials. It's very clear. The ones with good buttoned up financials, they don't overpay themselves, all that kind of stuff. You can usually tell good bands versus bad ones, but there's some of these chiefs are horribly corrupt. So that's all the questions we're going to cover from this. Judy Trin asks about why there isn't more money being spent on housing. It's a dumb question. Most of the questions are pretty dumb. Not one of these journalists have the gall to ask Mark Carney if he thinks it's unethical that he's pushing Canada in the path of net zero to personally benefit his 3% carried interest from his Brookfield Global Transition Fund. Not one of them has the courage to ask that question. And that is the top question that should be asked to him.